Yes, we are back with another episode of Mark Millennials, and I'm excited about this episode today because it's with my good friend Amanda Natividad, one of the best at turning audience insights into repeatable content. We talked about why most marketers feel stuck, how to find content ideas that actually hit, and how shifting your mindset can unlock endless stuff to talk about. This was a great conversation, and Amanda, it was full of insights and excited for you to listen. So let's jump in.
Welcome to the Marketing Millennials, the No BS Marketing Podcast. I'm Daniel Murray, and join me for unfiltered conversations with the brains behind marketing's coolest companies. The one request I tell our guests, stories or it didn't happen. Get ready to turn the up.
We are back with another episode of the Marketing Millennials podcast. I am bringing a returning guest to the podcast. I think most people know her, but we'll reintroduce her again. Amanda, a good friend of mine. I'll let her give her intro, but welcome back to round 2 of the Marketing Millennials podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Daniel. It's fun to be back. So I am the VP of Marketing at audience research startup SparkToro. You might know me as a marketing person on LinkedIn and Twitter/X. But hopefully you also know me from originating the concept of zero-click marketing or zero-click content. So maybe I'll kind of pause there.
No, I love it. I mean, I feel like so many people are using the term zero-click marketing and it all came from you, which is like so funny. Like I see talks all over that say zero-click marketing, and I always be like, yep, that's Amanda. Amanda coined it. So it's like top of mind for me. So excited to get talking. I know the one topic I want to start getting to, and I think one of the most important things I think in marketing is like this concept of taste. I think like it's like you need to have it to create good marketing. So how do you start developing taste? Like where does that start from?
I think it really comes from a lot of practice in both curation and creation. Like, I think it just comes from doing the reps in reading, consuming, watching what you like, and then trying to even just asking yourself, like, why do I like this? Why do I think this looks cool? Why do I think this is funny? And then trying to create some of your own stuff. Like, I feel like one way to go about it is to like maybe create a newsletter, for instance. Like maybe you curate, X amount of topics or X amount of pieces of content in Y topic, I mean, maybe I'll even pose the question back to you, right? Because for marketing millennials, you've built up this massive brand on really tapping into how marketers are feeling at a given time. And that takes taste, right? Because I'm sure you've had like a couple of whiffs too, right? Where you post a meme or something, but it doesn't quite hit. How do you know?
I think it's a mixture of experience and being in the weeds versus staying in tune to like what's culturally relevant and what people like, what is happening on social. So I think like, and that goes beyond like your space. And I think that's where people get stuck too. It's like, you got to be seeing what like brands in other industries, what influencers are doing, what other accounts are doing, and connecting. The key is like original ideas for me is like taking two things and things that are relevant and connecting two or like two separate ideas together. So I think like it comes from what you said in the beginning. I think consumption is like the biggest like thing where I think people like you have to be a good consumer to be a good producer in my book.
Yeah, you have to have good inputs, right? You have to have good inputs in order to create good output. And I think what you're saying too is, I think that really hits the nail on the head. The notion of having to be in the weeds, knowing what's going on, like that comes first. And the whole tapping into pop culture or whatever, that comes second.
It's hard to develop taste if you don't have expertise, especially in B2B marketing. Like if you don't understand what it's like to be in that your audience shoes or be like understand your audience in a deeper level and taking time to understand the conversations they're having, like where they're showing up, how they want to show up, like their pain points, like you already like lost the battle. I think you can't add sprinkle in culture if, because like what really is working is like the hook is what's working. It's not really like the image is just like the whatever you're doing, the other stuff that you're adding to it is secondary, where you, if you're embedding culture or you're embedding what's actually happening in marketing, it's really like starting from the hook and then finding what works with the hook.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's, yeah. And I think the biggest thing for that hook is like it needs to be very simple. Like people need to see themselves in it. Can I see myself in that pain point? Can I see myself in that situation? That sort of thing. And I think also what people like one way really to develop taste, I think, is to just ask yourself some critical thinking questions as you consume content yourself. Like when you're consuming the content from people, brands, whatever that you like, ask yourself why you like it. Like ask yourself, why is it relatable? Like specifically, why is it relatable? What do you think is smart about it? If it's that it's smart, why do you think it's funny? Like if it's funny, why is it? Is it because it's absurdist, or is it because it's revealing an emotional truth? Like I think really asking yourself those things will help a lot, because I mean, I even like just in conversation when I talk to people, when I'm like, oh, why do you like that show? Or why do you like that movie? Even sometimes they'll be like, I don't know, I just like it. Like, that's not good enough. It's like, well, like, what is it about it? Like, is it like what speaks to you, and what speaks to a need or kind of an unnamed feeling that you might have?
I think I want to go because there's taste, and then like you understanding the conversation on the field and then creating something original out of that, like what you did with Zero Click. Like what was on the field at the time was everybody was talking about the spooky dark social for a long time. Like that was on the field, but like nobody, it was like very like hard to understand from like a creating point of view, like a creation point of view. So like how did you like think about like the zero click marketing? Like how did that, like, because you understood what was on the field and then you created something new. So like what was like the process of coining the term and then like making it a conversation in the marketing world?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. So I coined the phrase zero click content first. This was about 3 years ago now, I think. And this was at a point in time where I was most focused on growing my social accounts pretty aggressively. So at this point, I think I had grown my Twitter following to 100,000 followers. And then at the time, my LinkedIn account was coming up on like 30 or 40,000 followers, maybe. And I think it was just, I remember saying it in conversation with my colleague / boss, Rand Fishkin. We were talking just about content or social content in general, and about like what makes content successful and what doesn't. And I was thinking about when I create content online, like how do I what's my heuristic for creating what I think is valuable? And I just sort of reflexively said like, oh, it needs to have zero click value. And he was like, what? Like his ears perked up and he was like, say more. And I was like, oh, like it just needs to be native to platform, standalone value, where, there isn't really additional context that is needed, but it's always better if you do get that context, where it immediately makes sense in the medium and in the format that it's in. And he was like, oh, he's like, I think you need to blog about this. And I remember for a moment, I was like, I don't know. I think everybody knows this. And he was like, no, blog about it. So I did. And I think what was interesting was just that it really did capture this moment in time where people were like, oh, I know exactly what that is. I know exactly what she's talking about. And I feel like it's one of those things that, because it entered that marketing zeitgeist in such a big way, I do feel like it's crossing over to this point where kind of nobody knows. People are starting to wonder where it originated. Where I think people are, it's just kind of like really, what's the word I'm looking for? Just really infiltrated our marketing vocabulary, that it's starting to feel like one of those things that people feel like, oh, that's been around for a while, but it's still pretty new.
Yeah, I mean, I think just like it's like a thing that was happening that didn't really have like a term put on it. Like people knew that like people were saying like you could create entertaining content, you could do this, but like nobody really. But it also connects back to like I think what we can talk about a little bit too in this conversation. But like I think the struggle is like connecting what people say to like how you can say it back to like leadership, because like marketing, let's say like 5 years ago, like the click, it was important. Like that's how you track things. That's like how you did things. Like it's like I need to get the click. I need to sell the click. I need to post links on social because I want the click. And like I'm going to repurpose a webinar for the click. And like now, like when you need to explain to executives, like that's not how the world works anymore. Like this is how you new people consume content. Like it sparks something in for people who want to create, like let's say zero click content. Like what is the conversation of like how to make correct KPIs for something that like doesn't like have initial click, for example?
Right. Like how do you create KPIs when there's no click to track?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so that's actually a very big question, because this goes back to, why is this happening? Like why has there been this rise in zero click marketing? Why is it more effective? And it's because of, it's a lot of things at play, right? Like one is the social media networks will suppress your reach if you put in a link, right? Twitter confirmed this when Elon Musk acquired that platform and then showed the algorithm and showed that posts with links are coded as definite spam vector, right? It's already suppressed there. LinkedIn has said before, we don't deprioritize posts with links, but we prioritize posts that don't have links. So that's like, so you penalize posts with links. And then very recently, Meta has even shown in one of their transparency reports that virtually all Facebook posts that get reach don't have a link. They said it was 97.3% of posts that are surfaced a lot don't have links. And some people have even shown or taken screenshots, which shows in their console that like your post has a link, like you might want to rethink that. I mean, that's not the exact verbiage, and you can look this up in a Social Media Today article. But it's advising, like Meta is actually advising people to not put posts in their captions, but rather to put it like in the follow-up comment to their post, right? So the social platforms are kind of starting to admit to this. And what I'll say here is, this isn't even the rest of the argument, but what I'll say already here is, well, if you know your link is going to suppress the post, then you already know that fewer people are going to see it. So what's the point? Like it's why be so insistent on tracking your post, tracking those clicks when you're going to kill your reach anyway? The other reason is the issue of dark social, where we have found, we did this research in SparkToro like last year, we found that most of the social networks will hide full referral strings, which means that even if you do get a click, then let's say you get a click from TikTok, then that traffic is going to be marked as direct, which means you wouldn't even see the click anyway. And that's 100% of links clicked from TikTok show as direct traffic. And that is the case with with Slack, WhatsApp, Mastodon, 100% of that is hidden. And then some percentage of Facebook Messenger, Instagram, and LinkedIn referral traffic some portion of that will be marked as direct traffic. So all that to say is, if you're insistent on posting links in all your social content, right, you're going to kill your reach. And even if you do get clicks, you're not going to see it. So what I'll say now is that's where we're going to see this return to some of those early digital era KPIs of like impressions, right? Like I test this all the time in LinkedIn, for instance. I know that if I have a post without a link, I'm going to get at least 3 times, if not 9 times, the reach compared to when I do put a link in the post. So I say optimize for your posts to get seen, optimize to get seen, and then make sure that you're driving home value to your prospects, to your customers, so that over time they'll remember you, they'll trust you, and then they'll convert when they're ready to buy.
I think one thing you're really big on too, like going even deeper into this conversation, is like qualitative like metrics like you can track. And like, let's say like I want to launch like LinkedIn as a channel. I know it has value. I know that links are getting suppressed in the algorithm, but I need a way to like show my boss that LinkedIn is working. So what are like, besides like the quantitative clicks, like referral traffic from LinkedIn that does happen, what are the ways qualitative, like for me to launch a new channel and start tracking some other points of reference?
So this kind of goes back to taste, actually, because I think if you have good taste and you're creating good content, those will be your qualitative KPIs. So for instance, a couple of heuristics that might be helpful for this is think about like how much mileage can you get out of a blog post? You know, like if you have this like 1,000-word blog post, can you repurpose that into like 3 or 5 pieces of LinkedIn content? If you can't, right? If you're like, I have nothing here, I only have like this one post, maybe it's not the best post, you know, but if you're saying something that's really worth saying, then you should be able to say it again in a couple of different ways. So that's one. Thinking about like, yeah, just thinking about that repurposing of content. Usually content that is easy or relatively easy to repurpose is good. Think about how you can get more from your existing marketing programs. So maybe a webinar that you host, right? Like maybe that webinar can become a blog post, or that webinar can become a bunch of different pieces of social content. Maybe you can take clips from it and post that as reels on Instagram, right? I'm just kind of spitballing ideas here, but if you're able to take some standalone pieces from the broader piece of content, then already you're getting a lot of value from what you're already creating. So I would say a big thing is really just sustainability of your operations, ability to repurpose. And then one other one, which is, I don't know how helpful this is, but one thing I like to say is quality of discussions. So like if you're posting really interesting or insightful LinkedIn content, maybe that'll give way to good discussions in the comments. You know, maybe people will be asking good questions, they'll participate in discussion. Like that's good, right? I mean, if you're posting stuff and nobody ever replies to you, that's got to mean something, right? That's going to mean that something's not hitting, right? But if you are like regularly engaging your community and they're engaging back, that's great, right? Another example could be when you are hosting a webinar and you're seeing activity in the chat, like people asking questions, people repeating like, oh, that's a really good point that speaker, that presenter raised. Those kinds of things, right? Like, are you stimulating further discussion?
I love those points. I mean, when I think about like content in general, I always like try to like do 2 things. I try to reverse engineer like what would be the comment I want in the comment section, like if I posted this. So like that's the first thing. And then number 2, I'll reverse engineer like is this like if I luckily I'm a marketer and I can do this, but like I would say like, is this like would I go text this to like some of my marketing friends and be excited about texting this to them, or would it be like would I get some sort of reaction? Whether my reaction is for them to like laugh at the piece of content, or reaction to be like, is that, oh, that's like a really interesting idea, or like reverse engineering from the DM or like the Slack share and like what the ideal like comment is. Like, is it like this? This post, I really feel this is so me, is so relatable, or is like the comment you're trying to get is like, is this so insightful? Like, I never thought of it like that. Like zero click content is like, I understand this is so me, but it's also so insightful because like I never like thought about it like that. So like you reverse engineer to what people want to say. I think a lot of people just think about like what they're posting and not thinking about like what they're trying to like reaction they're trying to get, or where do you want this piece of content to be going from the platform. Because if you're trying to get it off platform, you're trying to do something like get a share, um, get someone to do a certain action.
That's brilliant. That's exactly what it is. It's what can you post, like what reaction, what kind of comment do you want to elicit from your audience? That's everything right there, right? Because if you're posting questions like, it's National Ice Cream Day, what's your favorite flavor? Right? That's something that's easy to answer, right? It's someone can participate really easily. So that already lowers a barrier. But why would someone want to comment that? Like, are they going to win some ice cream? Like, I don't think anyone wants to really say that unless there's a good reason to participate, So then it's thinking about like, well, what are the reasons that people amplify content? Right. And by amplify, I mean like, comment, or reshare. Right. And I think some though the reasons for amplification tend to be around some kind of version of status signaling, some version of it, like signaling you're in an in group, signaling that, oh, I wish I said this, like this really like captures what I'm feeling, or signals like, oh, this was so smart, I have to share this with my network because this is so insightful.
I think it has to do with status, because you want to like show like a group of people, like if I'm going to share an insightful post like in a Slack channel, like I want to be the one to share the idea to the marketing team to try this out. Like that could be one thing you're trying to do. Or like I want to share this to the marketing team too because I want to show I'm in and I'm funny. Like I want to show like the marketing team I'm funny. Like this is hilarious. Like whatever you're trying to do, but the people are trying to like have some status with their friends or colleagues or whatever they're trying to do. So like even like, and it also depends on the platform you're on, right? Like Instagram, for example, like 80 to 90% of like the activity is happening in the DMs and stories. So like creating content on Instagram is to try get someone to click share versus like, or like comment, like for me at least, where like LinkedIn, like kind of that, but it's like you can't really track a share to like as well as like Instagram, because Instagram you can click like reshares, but you can't click like this person sharing the post. So like for me, it's more like, can I elicit a comment? Can I elicit a like? Could I elicit a screenshot on here? And how do I think about that? So like those are the things you got to think about different and platform wise too. And when you're tackling the platform, like what are those things you're trying to elicit qualitatively and quantitatively, and like different reactions tell you different things, like so I totally agree upon what you said about like the status and different things, but also like I think one thing is really hard to do, which I want to get your opinion on, is like how do you align like everybody of like what taste is, like, you know what I mean? Like we should be doing this type of content, like, cause like sometimes it's really hard internally to like get people to say like, yeah, we should be creating like zero click content, like coming up with a new term, going hard that way, or we should be doing this type of content, which is like very thought leadership, very like taking a stance on something. Like how do you get people to like internally align on this?
I would say come up with an agreed upon aspirational ideal customer. So like ideally if you can show a real example, like maybe your aspirational ideal customer, let's say this is B2B. Maybe that person is like Sam Altman. I'm just going to say this, right? Like maybe that's your aspirational, like ideal customer. Then maybe share whenever Sam Altman amplifies something and say like, how do we get Sam Altman to share our stuff? Right. That's just an example. Right. And so that'll help you start thinking about like, well, what does that aspirational customer share? What do they tend to comment on? What do they tend to reshare? And that helps you think, that helps the team align behind, oh, that's the kind of person we're going after. Like, oh, they only share stuff like in their industry. Okay, that's fine. But not now we know. I think like identifying some of those people or just even just one and then clearly stating why they amplify the things they do in a way that is, easy to agree with, right? Like, oh, clearly they do this, right? And then orienting your content creation or curation around that.
Yeah, I think the ultimate goal is like, who is this content for? Because like content is targeting in the sense, and like the way algorithms are going, it's getting even more and more content is targeting. So like if you're trying to like have that aspirational person, like you need to create that type of content. And then that's a great way to like talk internally to like a boss, like, hey, our goal is to reach these type of people. Like we need to create, if we want to reach these type of people, we have to create this type of content because this is what this type of people, this type of audience cares about. And then like it's an easier conversation than just going and straight saying like, I think we need thought leadership, and that's it. Like it's better to like work backwards from like the company goal is to get more into like SMB type people, and then you work back like what type of SMB type people, and then go deeper into what their pain points, and then start writing content for that.
Yeah. And I'll give you a specific example. Like, when I was earlier on in growing my Twitter account, that was something I thought of. Like I posted, and I still post, about my personal expertise and experience in organic marketing. And, it was never my intention or my goal to be the best, right? Or to be like, I post the best insights in marketing, because I don't, and I would never. And when Rand Fishkin followed me back, that sort of helped me recalibrate, like think about, oh, wait, because when someone you really admire follows you back or pays attention to you, you're kind of like, oh, why? And so that had me thinking like, well, why would Rand Fishkin, the person who invented domain authority, SEO marketing expert, why would he follow me back? And it's not because he needs marketing advice, right? Like he knows how to do it. Someone like that would follow me because they're curious about my approach or the things that I've done that work, the things that I'm currently testing, right? The things that you can really speak to because you're the one who lived it. That's one way to look at it, right? So think about it as like, who's your aspirational customer? And then what are the things you can say that one, align with their interests or values, but two, that only you are uniquely positioned to be able to say.
I love that. I think like people that you want, the desirable audience, are not following you. Not like a lot of people have enough knowledge. They just want to acquire something. Like they're trying to acquire something new when they're following you, or get some sort of something out of you. So whether like I know like for the marketing millennials, my goal, at least on social, is always like, I want to be like, always has been like a break in the feed and like hyping up other marketers. And that's like what I think about for social. So like, I want to create like funny, like content that's relatable, that it's like feels like a break in like a LinkedIn feed that like would get shared to in a Slack feed that people are laughing at, where like some people's goals are different. And that's why I think like that's why there's different approaches to social and different approaches work. And I like the way you thought about social. I want to know like, what is like your like personal filter of like when looking at like a new idea or like a new thing to execute? Like, what is like the filter that goes through Amanda's head, like before you of a new idea?
I mean, it's sort of just a vibe check. Like it is mostly that. Like I will, depending on what it is, right? Like I will look at, I might check the keyword volume on it. You know, like if it's a broader topic that I could be like, oh, are people searching for this? Like I'll probably look that up. So that informs it somewhat. But the other piece is it's mostly just, does this make my brain light up? You know, like this, like, is this interesting to me? Is this novel to me? Can I put a new spin on this in some way? You know, like, or it's even like, does this satiate a rant that I have? You know, like it's so it's very much vibe based, which is probably not that helpful, but
No,
maybe
I
it
like
is.
I think that's like because you've developed taste over like the years, because I think some people go down like the rant based type topic, but nobody cares about that certain topic, and that's why it's not getting views, or they're not
Yeah,
formatting it in the right way. Like that's the
yeah,
two. When I'm looking at a post and then like someone asks me like why it's not succeeding, usually it's
mhm,
either that like they're writing a personal journal, like they think their idea is like novel and it's like not that novel, or it's like you're not formatting it in a way that's simple enough to digest with your audience. And like those are the two things that are like not, but I think you've developed the taste of like, you know, like how to write a post like that will get attention. And then like you also know like if you're thinking about this, there's probably other people thinking about it as
yeah,
well.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing with like keyword research is, you know, it helps you to figure out like, are people in general searching for this pain point? But if you're trying to optimize for really high volume stuff, it's all going to be pretty vague. You know, like let's say in appealing to other marketers, those top keywords are going to be things like marketing strategy, how to content marketing, right? Like those are extremely broad topics. So it's like, I mean, not every piece of content you create is going to be like the definitive guide to content marketing or whatnot, you know? So it's sort of like, okay, so you have the general high volume keyword of email marketing, but so what? Like, what's your point? Like, what's interesting? What's bothering you about email marketing? What do you know that you wish most people knew? What questions do you have? Like, what do you not know that you want to find out? Can you explore that?
I think that's great. I also think that like, I mean, the broadest term stuff obviously is going to get the most reach in the sense, but that this necessarily doesn't mean like those are like the people who are searching that term is like exactly like who you're trying to reach with your piece of content. Like if you go more like niche of like if it's a how to piece and it's like more niche of like how to use AI and this and that in the piece of content, then you're like broadening it, niching it down, niching it down, niching it down, or like adding certain words into it. So I think there's those ways of doing it, but also like I do agree, like if you're not excited and passionate about writing that piece of content, like why are you expecting someone else to be passionate enough to like read that piece of content?
100%. Like if you can't be bothered to like engage with it fully while you're writing it, why should
Yeah.
anyone read it?
I mean, I always think about that. It's like if I'm bored at writing this, like I can't put this out there. Like if
Yeah.
I'm bored writing it, like why would I? Why would I like do that? Like it's not going to serve me well.
Yeah.
I one question too. Like, how do you decide like whether something like people like who like to have like benchmark data before doing things like how do you decide to do things without like having like data to like back it or like having like a standard for like this is what good looks like?
Well, sometimes you can Google it, right? You can you
Yeah,
can like look up some industry standards and have like a very general baseline for things. But then from there, I would say like just test it, like just do it. You know, like create a lightweight version of it that you can test sooner rather than later so that you could at least get to some kind of minimum viable product or version of what you really ultimately want to be doing. So like, let's say you really want your company to start a weekly newsletter, right? And you're not sure if you can get buy-in. You're not sure if you'll be allowed to email the your database that often, right? I would say like, well, just do one, like get buy-in for one and then see how that goes. And then get buy-in for the second one. It's like I think something that people might forget or just, sometimes people get like nervous by, right? Is people forget that you can always just stop. You can stop doing the thing. Like I know you can't undo. So like, don't be crazy, but like if something isn't working, then just stop and do something else. The point really is to like, you got to be doing something, and, it's obviously like not everyone's going to get buy-in for big budget projects or like major campaigns. And that's fine. But think about like, what's the one-off version of what you want to do? How do you get buy-in for that? And then how can you like think of some reasonable KPIs, like good KPIs that you think you can accomplish, whether that's like an open rate, whether it's amount of shares, amount of comments, or, results in like contacts or demos booked, like think about those things, right? Think about like, even if there's one KPI that you think you can move the needle on.
I like that. Is there an example where you like, so people can relate to like where you like had an idea, you went for it, it like didn't like pan out, but like you still took like the at bat and like you learned something from that that you could share?
I was trying to this one's a maybe though. I don't know. This isn't a like I'm not doing this anymore, but this one's like yellow light, right? I was trying to get into a more regular cadence of posting more blog posts or publishing more posts. And for some of them I was just doing shorter posts, like short blog posts, like 600 to 700 words of like kind of micro ideas. And they did okay, like they still got some engagement. People shared it. Some people liked it, right? But are they our top 10, even 15 most viewed blog posts this year? No. So it's sort of like, on one hand, should I keep doing it? Well, yeah, I mean, I should keep blogging, right? People are engaging with it. But on the other hand, if it's not top performing content, and if there is something else that I should be doing with my time that I know will move the needle on something, then maybe I shouldn't be doing it. So I think this is one that's like in between, but I'm putting it at like a yellow light in that if I have other stuff that I should really be doing, then that small blog post is going to fall to the wayside.
I think it's a good way to think about it in marketing too, is like the way like red, yellow, green of like, what are some like high impact thing, low effort, high impact thing, high effort, like medium impact thing, low effort, medium impact, like, and then like just weigh it out and then decide like, okay, short blog post, they might have this little uplift, but if I decide to like produce LinkedIn content, we see X amount more. Like, so that I'm just going to double down on like posting a LinkedIn post every week instead of like doing that. I think, especially with smaller marketing teams, which they could relate, it's like, it is trade-offs. Like it's better to do the thing that's working than do the thing that might work half effort. Like, because you can't give full effort into that thing because you have so many other things. So I like weighing it out. Like, we still could do this, but like if something else comes up, let's do something else.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good way to think about it. Last thing I want to ask you is like, and I asked you this last podcast, but like, what is a marketing hill you would die on?
Oh, a marketing hill I would die on. Okay, a marketing hill I will die on is nobody cares about the frequency of your marketing campaigns as much as you do. So if you have to make a trade-off of, should I focus a little bit more on making this campaign better, or should I just get it out the door? I think you should focus on making it a little bit better. And I'm saying this because every day there is more content on the web than there ever has been before. We are saturating attention everywhere. And I just don't think it's worth it to just check off the box. Like, we did the campaign today because it's Wednesday. Like, that is just so rarely going to be worth it, rather than if you just put an extra amount of like time or attention or some personalization, like something that makes it better, and then holding off a day, even if you need to, that's always going to be better. So I'm going to say, like, in essence, go the extra mile. Like, just push yourself a little bit harder to make something better, and it's going to be more worth it.
Yeah, I've always had this like thought, and I haven't like been able to put it into like terms yet, but I always like think about, like, people always think of like customer LTV, and I think about like audience LTV. And the way I think about, like, negative signal burns audience, and like
Yes.
you put out more and more things, you're just turning off people that could have been eventual buyers, or could have been people in your audience. So if you like every time you put a piece of content, doesn't mean that's a positive signal into like the world of your brand and your reputation and like your trust to that audience. So like I don't think people think enough of like, am I retaining like my audience that would buy in the future, as much as they think of like retaining people that is in their like existing customer base. But I think about it all the time. Like, if I put out this piece of content, am I going to lose potential like audience, like that LTV of my audience is going to go down, or like I'm going to lose it. That person is never going to read my stuff again because I put out something that isn't as good, or doesn't have as much depth, or doesn't have as much tone, or like the tone is off, or because I was lazy of putting that piece of content out. So I've been thinking about that a lot. And I think a lot of people don't think about negative signal when they put out content.
That's really good. Yeah, that's really well said. And I'll even add to that, if you're putting out content that's not very good, you're also going to hurt yourself algorithmically, because if you put out something mediocre, not a lot of people engage with it, and you kind of like keep doing this. Look, everyone whiffs sometimes, and that's fine. But if you are just trying to fill a quota, and as such you end up just posting some mediocre stuff and people don't engage with it, that's sending signals to the algorithm that your content isn't going to be worth serving up. So there's that. Like, it's always going to be better to have like 3 great posts in a week versus 5 meh posts in a week.
Yeah, I mean, I think I heard someone say this, like, the hard truth is like, so when sometimes your post is not getting seen, is like your content probably could be bad. And I hate to say that in the most, like your content probably is bad. Like, if it's not getting seen by people, or not being, because at the end of the day, like, these platforms want to serve content that keeps people on the platform. Mm-hmm. And they want things that people can engage with and keep them reading on the platform and keep them on the platform. So like, they are going to show your content to other people if it's like worth showing to other mm-hmm. people. So I do think about that. Like, yeah, but like, also like, sometimes I don't post because I just think about this like negative signal stuff like all the time. Like, there's like people always say like send more emails, but like sometimes like, okay, you got 3 more sales, but you burned 10 sales in the future. Was that worth it? Like, cause you got like 1 more extra sale that month, as a marketing team. Like, I don't know, like I haven't done a test of that, but like,
sure. Like, that'd be really hard to test.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to test, but like you could have burned like so many people because you like annoyed people by sending like 10 extra emails in that month because you wanted to hit your quota.
Right. Like you got you got 2 new customers, but you lost 600 subscribers.
Exactly. It's like, and those 600 subscribers could have converted at like, let's say a 10% rate, and that's like 6 customers. So 6 like too. Like is it worth like that? So yeah, just something to think about for people out there.
Yeah.
Lastly, where can people find you and what you're doing?
Yeah. So you can find me at Amanda Nat on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. You can also subscribe to my newsletter at amandanat.com. And yeah, and also check out SparkToro. You can make a free account for our tool where you can learn some more about your audience. And we're working on some pretty cool stuff that's involving some like LLMs and like ways that you can take action on your marketing. Like, anyway, it's cool stuff.
Good, go check it out. Especially like if you're like stuck of like what type of like this going back on taste we're talking about earlier. Like, are you stuck on like what your audience are like consuming? Like this what can help you like see like okay they're looking at these type of podcasts or like they're looking at these articles, and you kind of can reverse engineer back from that.
Yeah, exactly. Like SparkToro will show you like these are the social accounts they follow, the media publications they read. Here are some topics they're thinking about. So you can be like, okay, great. I will try to be in line with those things.
Yeah, that's how you get your taste game up. So thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for listening. Keep tuning in to hear more great insights from the coolest marketers from around the world. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and follow the Marketing Millennials podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like what you hear, I would greatly appreciate you giving us a 5-star rating. It helps bring more marketers into our community.